Well, I seem to have found myself in the upside down, which can mean only one thing. It's time for my review of the brand new stage show, Stranger Things, The First Shadow. Now, where's Eleven when you need her? Yes, hello, welcome to a new episode of Geek Lunch Me. I'm your host Chris, as usual, and as I said, we'll be looking today at the brand new stage show, Stranger Things, The First Shadow, that I saw the other day at a preview showing. I've got the programme here, which we'll take a look at in a little while. But first, don't forget, if you like what you see, hit the thumbs up, helps us out a great deal, helps the video get seen by a lot more people. And if you're not already subscribed, well, smash that subscribe button. We've had loads of new subscribers recently, so thank you all very much. So yes, Stranger Things, The First Shadow is the new show currently running at the Phoenix Theatre in the West End in London. And as I say, we went to see it the other day at some preview showings. I think those previews are now finished and it's now up and running properly. Quick disclaimer, thanks to the absolute crappery of the Great British Railway system, the train was cancelled and then another one was delayed, and then the train we finally got on broke down about 20 minutes from Paddington. So we actually missed the beginning of the show. So yeah, that was really annoying, but I can't say enough good things about the staff at the Phoenix Theatre. They let us in, they've got some chairs. They've got like a live feed of what's happening on the stage, on like a TV in the foyer. They got some chairs and they let us sit there and watch the beginning of the show. And then the lady came over and said, there's a scenery change coming up shortly, follow me. And she took us to our seats as the lights went down for the scenery change. As I say, I can't say enough good things about the staff of the Phoenix Theatre. Thank you to them. No thanks whatsoever to the train service. So as I say, we missed the very beginning of the show, but it was okay. Yeah, we got the general gist of what was going on, and we saw all of the important stuff. So The First Shadow, story by the Duffer Brothers, who do the TV show, the actual script written by Kate Treffery. And I'll talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to go into any spoilers. I'll just give you some generalizations. The plot, as it is, it's quite simple. Stage shows, the plots tend to be a bit simplified and a bit more stylized. But yes, the plot as it is, we are in Hawkins in 1959. We've got like a young teenage Jim Hopper who's just sort of interested in wanting to get his car back on the road. We've got Joyce Maldonado, who basically wants to get out of the small town of Hawkins and go and make our way in the big city. We've got Bob Newby, just got his little local radio show he just wants people to listen to, and he very much wants Joyce to notice him, and he's got a big crush on her. And then comes crashing into this small town setting is the Creel family arrive. I'm just going to assume that you've seen the first 4 seasons of Stranger Things, so there will be spoilers, if necessary, from those shows. Obviously, we know that Creel, Henry Creel, becomes number 1 Vecna himself. So we see his family arrive, and a lot of the plot involves around, young Henry and also Patty, who is Bob Newby's sister. They're pretty much, 2 of the main characters, and the first half of the show is all about sort of them and Henry and his sort of manifestation of his strange powers and sort of spooky shenanigans going on. And then the second half of the show is when Dr Brenner turns up and takes him back to his lab and sort of starts the process of turning him into number 1. And that's pretty much the whole plot of the show. As I say, it's quite simple, but it's very effectively done. And the cast are fantastic. I would say best cast member, Isabella Pappas as Joyce. She's the most similar to her character in the show. She's sort of very much channeling her inner Winona Ryder. She looks like her. She's got the mannerisms. She's spot on. Next, I would probably say Christopher Buckley as Bob Newby. Obviously, Sean Astin in the show. He's got a sort of resemblance in his mannerisms, very similar. Oscar Lloyd as Jim Hopper. He's quite different to the Jim Hopper. In the show, he's that sort of gruff. He's older. He's been there, done it, seen it all. In this, he's much more of a sort of obviously young, naive teenager. So he plays, the character is played quite differently. And then, as I said, pretty much the main characters, Louis McCartney as Henry Creel, Ella Karuna Williams as Patty Newby. And they do a fantastic job. Henry's creepy when he needs to be. Patty's a sort of young, naive but plucky heroine. And I have to shout out to Patrick Vale as Dr Brenner, who turns up right at the end of the first act. And he's got that smarmy, sort of Dr. Brenner way to him, but then really intense where it needs to be, when he's sort of shouting at young Henry Creel and trying to basically goad him into using his powers to do various things in the lab. So the cast, as I say, is great, and all the supporting cast as well. They'll do a fantastic job, of bringing 1950s Hawkins to life. A production like this of Stranger Things, obviously, it's got sort of going to live or die on a lot of its special effects. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on in the TV show, and it's very interesting to see how they replicate this on stage. I'm always astounded when I go to the theatre of just the things that they can do, with simple lighting and sound effects. And the first shadow is got so much stuff going on. Just the use of red lights for when sort of the upside down is encroaching into the world of Hawkins. There's a lot of stuff done with projections and smoke. It's all very creepy. The actual whole set is one of those big sort of turntable ones. So say it rotates around. They use that to really good effect. There's some really nice transitions between scenes when, say, you've got people on this stage that's rotating. You've got backgrounds sort of like going past, sort of being projected and stuff like that. It's all very stylish and done really well. In the series, when sort of 11 goes into that void where it's all black, they sort of do that where Henry's watching sort of scenes happen. He's there on stage, but obviously no one else can see him. There's sort of always blackness around them. So it's very, very well done. There's lots of special effects. People levitating, rats exploding, and lots of blood smattering, windows smashing, and things like that. Which is probably a good time to point out. If you've got little kids, it's probably really not for them. Obviously, you're the best judge. You know your kids the best. If they watch the show, obviously season 4 of the show got quite intense. At some times with Vecna, cracking people's limbs and pulling eyes out. Obviously we do get the story of what happens to the Creel family. Obviously that we see. That we hear about in season 4, so what to expect. There are sort of a bit of gruesome stuff going on involving little kids as well. So obviously it's quite intense when it's live on stage, and they say there's lots of lights flashing and loud sound effects and things like that. So just bear in mind, might be a bit scary for the very little ones. There is a really nice shot done where it goes into slow motion. It's fantastically well done, like a whole gantry collapses with someone on it and they fall. But the whole thing is obviously done mechanically and looks like it's happening in slow motion. The sort of projections in the background going in slow motion. Everyone else on the stage obviously goes into that sort of slow motion move. Saying that way the whole thing falls, just to see it, live. Your brain's telling you it's happening in slow motion, but obviously it's being done live on stage in front of you. Absolutely fantastic the way they do that. I was really impressed with the way that comes across. It gets quite meta at one point because they're putting on a sort of high school stage show. So we've got sort of theatre within a theatre. There's some sort of gags involving around that. Sort of where Joyce tells a couple of people, you'll just sort of bit part supporting actors. And there's bits going on where sort of some people just come out to the stage. Don't worry, there's no sort of audience participation as such. Although if you're in the very front rows, expect there's some sort of dust or something that flies out at some point. There's a good chance you might get some of that on you. It's not all intense. There are some great funny lines. Jim Hopper has a load of good lines. There's a really good gag involving the Communist manifesto. Obviously this is 1950s America, so Reds under the bed being everywhere. They get some jokes out of that, and Will Byner's dad, who we see briefly, but gets some really good laughs. He was really good. Now I want to talk a bit about, because they've said several times in interviews and in the press for this, that although this obviously is a prequel and it's sort of telling us the sort of story of how the Creel family comes to Hawkins and all what happens, then Henry joining Dr. Brenner's program, they keep saying that it's also got a bearing on the 5th and final season of the TV show. So as I was watching it, I was bearing this in mind. And I must admit, there wasn't really much, as far as I could tell, that that sort of like would carry through into the next season. Again, unless it was something right at the very beginning of the show, which obviously we missed. Maybe there's obviously that. But there was one thing. It's a slight spoiler. I don't think they've gone into this in the TV show that I can remember. We get a bit of Dr. Brenner's backstory to do with his dad, who was a part of Project Rainbow, which is to do with the sort of legend of the Philadelphia experiment, the story of this aircraft carrier that the American government tried to make invisible to radar, and in doing so sort of made it disappear completely. There have been several films about this, and obviously the Stranger Things story is that it basically they made it sort of disappear into another dimension, into the upside down, effectively, before bringing it back. So that's the only thing I can think of, that maybe in the next season, obviously they've got to close the rift and get rid of the upside down completely, forever. I wonder if there's going to be something that harks back, they look into this Project Rainbow, and maybe the technology that was used to open this rift in the first place, maybe that will be the way they close it permanently. I don't know, but I say there wasn't much else that I could see in the show that really felt like that it was going to link into the next season. So yeah, that is Stranger Things, the first shadow, live on stage at the Phoenix Theatre. If you are a fan of Stranger Things, you'll love it. If you're a fanatic of Stranger Things, you'll absolutely adore it. You owe it to yourself to get there if you can. It runs until the 25th of August 2024. It goes on for about 3 hours, including the interval. If you've got any other questions about the show, just drop them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer anything that you like. As I said before, well, just to say, this is the programme that was available. There was other merch as well, tote bags and badges and things like that. I just picked up this programme to add to the collection. As you can see, we've got an intro from the Duffer Brothers. We get the story so far, covering the first 4 seasons. So if you'd not watched it, I can't imagine many people will be going to see the stage show. Obviously, just the credits there. And there's several articles to do with sort of sci-fi in the 50s, sort of, say, monster movies. A bit more, they go in depth, as I said before, about the Philadelphia experiment, Project Rainbow. That's how trying to make this ship invisible to radar. The fact there's sort of whole articles about it in the programme as well makes me wonder again if that is going to lead into the next season. We've got a bit about the play that is performed by the students at the school in Hawkins. Another article dealing with post-war America in the 50s. And then lots of photos from the rehearsal stages. And then the credits. And then all your cast photos. So there you go. Stranger Things, the first shadow, currently on stage at the Phoenix Theatre in the West End in London. I had a really good time watching it, and if you're a Stranger Things fan, you owe it yourself, if you can, to go and check it out. As I say, it's on till August next year. Thank you for watching. Take care. Until next time, eat, geek, and be merry.